Okay. Everybody see the slides okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If you want to move up closer, you see fine? Got your far vision going? The reason I made up this slide is everybody in the United States is being affected in one way or another. Either we've got the diseases, the chronic inflammatory diseases, or our spouse does, even our kids are getting them. 60% of the people in the United States have been diagnosed with a chronic inflammatory condition, whether it's inflammatory bowel disease or some sort of inflammation in their nervous system. I'm meeting people every day who don't know they've got leaky gut, and they've got leaky gut. And
Is
30.
it really only 60%?
Yeah.
I bet it's higher.
Oh, that's 2 out of 3 people.
I know, but...
And most of them, a lot of these people have been diagnosed. There's the 40% that don't go to the doctors, because they don't have insurance, or they.
Right, I think they have.
They have.
Closer to 80.
They've got these problems too, but they haven't been diagnosed. 30% have been diagnosed with 2 or more chronic inflammatory diseases, and this is bad. This is a lot. This is out of 300 million people, 200 million people have been diagnosed with something, including children, which is crazy. I don't take my kids to the doctor, so they haven't been diagnosed with anything. But Sophie probably has leaky gut and gluten problems like her mom, because when she eats wheat and stuff, she gets stomach aches. Most begin in the intestinal tract. Microbiome is out of whack. It's been altered because of all the sugars and stuff. There's a Streptococcus thermophilus that's normal in the mouth, and it actually protects your teeth from cavities. Now, when kids eat sugar, guess what happens? It mutates into strep mutans. They even call it a mutans because it's a mutated bacteria, and it causes tooth decay. In our general family, our kids, we've restricted their sugar intake, so they haven't had any cavities. Here they're, 8 and 10, and most kids their age, their mouths are filled with amalgams. And her cousin actually had to have her front teeth pulled. They were so decayed, and it's due to all the sugar. 800,000 died of heart disease. I think we talked about this slide a little bit last time. 500,000 died of cancer last year, and 420,000 died of iatrogenic causes, which means their doctors actually contributed to their death, which is pretty bad when you think about it. So, a lot of people think that this one is the second highest, because if you add in the clinics, this is only hospital deaths caused by doctors. If you add in the clinics, they think it's double that. Because doctors do things in their clinics, they cause problems, and people die. So, what is the microbiome? It's the normal flora that lives on our skin and in our intestinal tract. And originally, this included 12 to 16 different bacterial species in the gut, and a lot of those have been mutated, or we've got fungus in our guts now. And so that's a problem. And these are some of the different ones. This is the Streptococcus thermophilus that's normal in our mouth, and when we eat too much sugar, it mutates into strep mutans. A lot of these are really good. Ones that cause gingivitis, gingivalis, the Porphyromonas gingivitis, causes bad breath and gingivitis. H. pylori causes gingivitis. H. pylori also causes ulcers in the stomach. Gum deterioration is the actinobacillus, and that's another one from too much sugar. Actinomyceta comitans is a type of fungus that gets in there and causes gum deterioration.
Can you reverse that gum deterioration?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Fusiform bacteria causes bad breath. Spirochetes, both syphilis and the one that causes Lyme's disease, Borrelia. I know it sounds terrible, but these get in the mouth because, you know, people are having oral sex now, and they have these from other tissues, and they get in the mouth.
So that's why Lyme disease is so hard to get rid of. It's in the family of syphilis rather than a normal
Yes.
equivalent to a strep or a staph or something.
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
called spirochetes, which means they look like a little drill bit.
Yeah.
And they drill into the tissues, and they can drill their way into the brain, and they're finding people are getting tertiary Lyme's disease, which means it gets into their brain. Syphilis has a primary, secondary, and a tertiary, and the tertiary gets into the brain. It causes people to be crazy. And the Lyme's disease people, they're getting a little bit crazy. It's very interesting. So gum diseases and heart health, it's been shown that the bugs that cause problems in the mouth also can cause problems in the heart and cause heart disease. So this chronic inflammatory state causes problems. That's why we've got a lot of people on the arteritis vasculitis program. It's because that gets rid of these bugs in the blood tissue, in the blood and in the veins and arteries. And so, but it leads to cardiovascular disease, the number one cause of death, well, other than your doctor. So, the microbiome, you know, we started out as hunter-gatherers, and we would eat sugar in very restricted quantities, and when we did, it was in form of berries, fruits, those kind of things. And they carry a lot of good nutritional value, and they actually have antimicrobial substances within them, so they actually are good for our body. But, you know, taking in candies, you know, we're coming up to Halloween, and literally it's a fest of sugars, and it causes a lot of problems. So it's important that, you know, these cavity-causing bacteria, we get them out of our mouths by reducing the amount of sugars we're eating. Sugar also has been shown to, if you take a teaspoon of sugar and just take it, it makes your thymus not work as well for about 7 to 8 hours. It makes all of your immune cells kind of a little crazy for about 7 to 8 hours. And so it actually suppresses your immune system for almost half a day. So it's important to restrict your sugar intake. Now, how do we change that? That's what we're more interested in. We've got a problem. Now, how do we resolve it? Well, we have to change the flora. Now, the effects of the diet on the bacterial population of your mouth and intestinal tract is so important. Vicki started making different kefirs, you know, even a water kefir out of good bacteria, and we started fermenting and making coleslaw, I mean, not coleslaw, but sauerkraut, and fermented beets. We start eating this good stuff so we get more good bacteria back in our body. When you get these good species in, it actually changes your gut and helps it to heal. We call it convalescence. You know, years ago, you know, the tribes would have a big pot boiling all the time. They'd throw meat in it. And the people who were sick, they'd feed them the broth from this big pot and have them lay around and get well. Well, what happens when they do this is when you have a big pot of broth and bones and tissues in there, it breaks it all down into amino acids and minerals and different things that help the bowel heal. And that's why we started putting people on these bone broth fasts. And Maharishi came to me and gave me a recipe for a vegetarian broth. And so these things are really good to help the bowels repair. It takes 3 to 5 days to repair the little villi in the intestine. And the villi is where you actually absorb your nutrients and the good things. And we have 6 to 8 layers of bacteria. And when each layer does a certain thing. Some of them form our B vitamins, some of them form vitamin C, some of them make intrinsic factor that helps us absorb B12. Some of them help us absorb our minerals and our nutrients. They actually help transfer them across. It's fascinating because our bodies have anywhere from 60 to 100 trillion cells, and we have 300 trillion good bacteria when we have good flora. Isn't that amazing? We have 10 times the amount of good bacteria, and most of us are running around with not very good bacteria that have been mutated and everything. So it's good to get a big variety of the good bacteria too. Like most of the stuff we carry has from 8 to 16 types of good bacteria. And I drink a lot of apple juice with Lactobacillus bulgarius because it was isolated and found to be very good to get rid of pathogenic strep and staph. And so the people in the valley in Bulgaria who had this bacteria in their system, they lived to be 20 years longer than everybody in the surrounding villages because of this bacteria. And so it's good to have these sort of things. It's really important to set your intent. When I went to Hawaii to finish my first book, I actually ended up writing a different book called Take Back Your Health. And I understand now why the angels told me to write this book. It's very important. Nobody will take better care of you than you. And educating yourself with what's best for your health is good because the pharmaceutical industry doesn't have your health in mind. The medical industry doesn't have your health in mind because they are motivated by profit, not by getting you well. And so if they can keep you sick and keep you strung out on drugs your whole life, they make a lot of money. And so you taking charge of your health actually helps you become healthier. Your intent, you know, I am healthy. Health vibrates at 780, which means it vibrates in unconditional love. It vibrates in a higher state of consciousness. And so if we say, I am in charge of my health, I am healthy, instantly your vibration goes up. Multiple sources of toxins are in our environment, and we need to watch what we're putting in our body. We need to eat good organic food, less sugar, more fruits and vegetables that are organic, and we need to know where they were grown. You know, support those kind of things, because if you go in your regular store and you buy a bunch of crap, processed food, you're going to get sicker. Whereas if you go to, you know, your local farmer's market or grow your own food, you know what's in that food. You know what's been used to grow that food. Most of our food grown in the United States, they're teaching the agronomists, who are the people in school learning about agriculture. They're teaching them, 90% of the schools are teaching to sterilize the soil. In other words, get rid of the good bacteria. Crazy. And they're wondering why our food doesn't have as much nutrients, as many minerals. They actually did studies about the soil. And we've got plenty of minerals in the soil. The problem is they're using these herbicides and pesticides, and it's killing off the good bacteria. And so the bacteria, like in our stomach, if we have the good bacteria, they help us absorb our nutrients, our minerals, our vitamins, everything. The plants are the same way. If they kill off the bacteria, the plants are unable to absorb as many nutrients because the bacteria, the good bacteria, actually help the plants to do what they need. And we were talking to a guy from Monsanto about 3 or 4 years ago in New York, and he totally believed they were going to feed the world with all these genetically modified foods. He totally believes it in his soul that, oh, this is good for our human population. I sent a letter to Orrin Hatch telling him how bad the GMOs are, the genetically modified foods, and how our agricultural system is actually destroying American health. And he wrote me back saying, oh, no, the scientists are right, we need GMOs. And this is Orrin Hatch. I thought he was the guy that, you know, propagated the good things, and you know, he's got on board with the corporate structure. So, you know, and he's been in way too long anyway. Anyway, so we need to clean up our environment and our body and help others to be educated. And that's why I go around giving talks like this, is because I need to educate people about how the corporations don't have our health in their best interest. They want our money, is all they want. Add healthy mantras. Mantras are things you tell your body to assist it, to help it, and it actually has been shown to work. When you say something, it can change your physiology. Just like saying, if you say, I love myself, it changes your physiology. Even if you don't totally believe it, just saying it puts out that energy. Well, they've also found saying negative things can change your physiology. So it's real important we tell ourselves good things. Now, one of the things I like to say when I'm going to the bathroom is I am releasing toxins out of my body. Okay? I am releasing the toxins in my body. When we breathe, I release the toxic vapors from my system, transmuting the bad and bringing in healing prana and oxygen as I breathe. When we eat food, I bless this food and to cleanse and detoxify my body, and also to give my body nutrition. When we drink, I bless this fluid to cleanse and detoxify my body. When we say these things, guess what happens? They've actually found through studies that we create stuff with our thoughts. When scientists get together to do a study and they have a certain outcome they want to have happen, guess what happens? That outcome can happen. And so we have to be very careful. You know, everybody's like, oh, we have to have double-blind studies with this and with that. Well, the problem with any kind of study is we actually interfere with it with our God-creative energy. And so when people are like, oh, has there been a study done about that? How can you believe in any study when people have a certain intent? The pharmaceutical industry has a certain intent. When I was doing cancer research, the professor in charge of this research had a certain intent, and when it didn't come out exactly how he thought it should, he told me to manipulate the statistics so it would. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And he says, well, you're fired. I'm going to find somebody who will. It's kind of interesting. So you need to, we desire to detoxify and cleanse our body, and that will happen. When we set that as our intent, every decision we make will follow that. Spiritual healers. I believe in all of these people. And I had a lady call me yesterday who has recurrent breast cancer. And she said, should I keep doing this? Should I keep doing that? And you know what? I told her, yeah. If you can afford it, do everything you can. I'm just going to give you some new ideas and new products that will help assist you cleansing too. But yeah, don't stop going to your acupuncturist. Don't stop going to your nutritionist. You know, they are people who will help you. And, you know, massage therapists. I totally believe in massage. And that it has the power to help our body move the lymph and help it heal. And intuitive healers such as shaman, medicine men or women, sound or toning therapists. You know, I've met a lot of different people that do really good things. Herbalists, nutritionists, homeopathics, doctors. You know, I mean, it's amazing, all of the healers out there. And they normally won't harm you. Which is good. You know, they don't cause the iatrogenic deaths. which is very good, because they've actually done studies with herbalists and different nutritionists, chiropractors, different things, and they don't cause harm. You know, when I took the Hippocratic Oath, first do no harm, you know, and we've forgotten about that, you know. It's kind of interesting. But herbs, tonics, oils, all kinds of stuff really helps us. Fermented foods, probiotics, very, very important to change our intestinal flora. Cleanses, fasts, sweating, yoga. When I went to Fairfield, I opened up my book, and it said, do the Master Cleanse. And I was like, I haven't done the Master Cleanse in 10 years. And so I spent that week, and I did the Master Cleanse while I was there in Fairfield, and it actually made me feel pretty good. And I went through each day, and I had plenty of energy, and it was very good for me. Lymphatic drainage, heavy metal chelating, cleansing, petrochemical and plastic cleansing. Now, when I talk about these things, a lot of people go, well, how do you get this stuff out of you? And these things are very nice. It takes a tribe to heal. We're healing together. We're all in this together. Everybody has different gifts and talents, and we each need to help each other as a community. But the one who's most important is you. You have to make your intent to heal, unless you don't want to. You know, it's one of those things. So good things come to those who cleanse. Healthy habits you repeat make our lives real sweet. When your parasites are dead, they don't get into your head. Those are just some little sayings I wrote down to help us remember things. Healing energy in books. You know, I was when I wrote Take Back Your Health, I was really pleased when, you know, like Janet Garrett tested, it was 780. And I had several other people test, and they said, yeah, it tests at 780. And when I found out at a lecture I went to, Dr. Hawkins' stuff was all listed in the map of consciousness, and he had the word health, and guess where it vibrated? 780. So if you take care of your health, you're going to vibrate higher. Good books influence and guide us. Get rid of your fear, hard times, sickness, depression, divorce, loss of job, death of a loved one. You know, I had all of this happen in 1 year. Yeah, in 1 month. And you know, in psychiatry, they give certain numbers to certain problems in your life. Well, I was up at 650, so I should have committed suicide 3 times over. And because I was filling my mind with good thoughts, good things, it overcame those problems. So surrounding yourself with high vibrating people is important too. A lot of us, you know, we associate with people who bring us down. And we need to cut those ties and get around people who are positive and bring us good thoughts and higher vibrating energy. Ho'oponopono, I'm going to talk about this a little bit because it's the ancient Hawaiian practice of reconciliation and forgiveness. And what's interesting about it, it can help clear things. When I went to Fairfield this last time, every time I would set up the chairs in the library, I would bless them that they would be clear. And I would say, I love you, thank you, please forgive me, you know, and just do the Ho'oponopono with them. And we can clean negative thoughts and emotions and clear the physical space, you know. And every day I bless this office. I bless the herbs that they'll be high vibrating and help people heal. I bless the chairs people come in. You know, we had that one guy, what's his name, the older guy that comes in and he sits in here and then he doesn't ever buy anything, but he just sits in here. Gerald Pruitt, yeah.
He likes the vibes.
He likes the vibration of the office. He comes in, sits down, and when he's cleared and vibrating higher, he takes off. So it's kind of interesting. But clearing negative thoughts and emotions is very important. Catherine Beck, a 85-year-old psychic who took me under her wing and taught me, she says, cancel negative thoughts. If you're thinking a negative thought, it's affecting your vibration and it incorporates in your cellular matrix within 20 seconds. So it doesn't give you a lot of time. And so if you see somebody and you have a negative thought, you got to go, I cancel that and I replace it with love or the opposite. Anything that's the opposite. A very important thing to do. And clear your homes. You know, it's interesting. Vicki saged our home this one day, and we all slept better that night than we slept in a long time, just saging our home. So these little practices do help our space, and doing the Ho'oponopono is very important. And this talks about it, you know, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry for whatever was done to you, and thank you, and have gratitude for the thoughts or actions, and allow them to disappear and uncreate anything that's not good. So this will be on the internet. I'm going to post it. It'll be under Scott R. Werner at YouTube. So actually it's you go to YouTube and you just type in Scott R. Werner, and it has all of the talks that I've posted. Not all the ones I've given, but all the ones I've posted. So it'll have these slides on, and you can review some of this stuff. Who needs to detox? Everyone. Since this is about detoxing, it begins with our intent, and every thought we have, every action we take, everything we take into our bodies, everything we affect our bodies with. So intent is very important. Spiritually, everything begins with our intent. It gives us a focal point. In other words, it gives us a goal, but more than that, it gives our energy direction and focus. So intent is everything. Cellular memory is the energetic imprint of emotions, whether positive or negative. To release cellular memory requires intent or purpose. We don't just live our lives and release all the negative stuff, because it's still there, and it takes focus to release this stuff. And it's interesting, I had an experience where I injured my thumb, and all of you have probably heard this. It had infection in it. The infection swelled up my thumb, and then it started moving up into my wrist, and then I had these little red spots going up. And it was interesting because I freaked out, did what I know I shouldn't do, and I got an antibiotic, and I took the antibiotic, and it made my whole body feel like it was on fire, because this antibiotic was a very expensive one, and I thought it would help. But little did I know was the pharmaceutical industry put degeneration codes into this antibiotic, which means instead of healing my body, it started degenerating my body. And within a matter of hours, I had aged like 5 years. And then I made the mistake of trying it again, taking a second one. And it did the same thing and degenerated my body again. And so it was fascinating. I was like, well, I've got this horrible infection. The antibiotics aren't helping me. In fact, they're hurting me worse. What do I do? And the Spirit said to me, you know what to do. And I was like, I do? And I went into a meditative state, and I got, okay, these bacteria have been programmed to degenerate your cells, because that's what they do in the soil. They degenerate whatever organic material gets in there, and they turn it into the basic minerals and compounds so plants can absorb it. See, again, a good bacteria. This was a good bacteria, but it was causing bad things in my body because it was degenerating. Well, the Spirit said, and we had done the San Pedro, the Spirit said, ask them to change their intent. Have them, instead of degenerate your body, have him regenerate your body. And you know, the second I told them to do that, my body started to regenerate rather than degenerate. And an interesting experience. But I knew I had that experience so I could teach others this lesson, because it's a very important lesson. Everything starts with our intent. And every plant, every animal, every rock, everything on this planet responds to our God spark within our bodies. When we have the intent to have something happen, it changes our environment. It changes everything around us. And my changing those bacteria's minds to, instead of degenerate, become regenerators, changed the whole infection. It stopped hurting, it started healing, and it was pretty dang amazing. So we have the ability to do this. So imprinting new codes or code forms. Dr. Dayoon Kim, who made this particular line of herbs, put in form codes. Now, what are form codes? Form codes are amino acid sequences made by vegetables. These are, so it's totally vegetarian, They're sequences that help our body regenerate certain parts of our body. He has codes for the thyroid, for the thymus, for the heart, for the liver, all the different organs. And these codes actually help tell our body, okay, this needs to regenerate. So
where does he get them? Where does he find that out?
He did his PhD thesis at BYU on it. He got his biochemistry degree from BYU.
Somewhere that knowledge is out there then.
Yes, he's actually the first one to do it. And here he is, a guy that we know who makes really good products that have these codes in them to regenerate our body. And the older companies used what they call protomorphogens, which are the DNA and RNA from animal sources that regenerate the organs. And this company in particular has those codes for their different products. And this company is a very good company. That company is a very good company. They're two of my favorite companies. I use a lot of their products. Now, when you talk about these energies affecting our body, we are very susceptible to energetic imprints. So taking the best products, and the reason why I push these products is because they're some of the best products on the planet. So, we need to stop living unconsciously, make our choices, consciously. And if we desire to cleanse, stop detoxing up our body. If you desire to be healthy, make healthy choices. Take back your health. Okay. Now, that was an important slide. Better go back. Okay. What I want to say in this one is that everything you think, everything you eat, everything you breathe, everything you drink, everything you say, everything you accept as true affects your health. So we need to educate ourselves and do better at taking care of our body. Because the illusion is our healthcare system, Obamacare will take care of us. Not. It's going to cost us a crap load of money, and it's the same system that they're doing now. And it is ran by the hospital systems of the United States, the insurance systems, and the pharmaceutical and chemical industry.
The IRS.
Yeah, and they're going to penalize us through the Gestapo called the IRS. So now it's so important to take back our health, and let me tell you, vote. When you go to the voting booth, don't vote for people who want universal health care. It's been proven to be a disaster in every country that it's happened in, and it costs a lot of money, and it doesn't improve your health. Anyway, okay. So what's causing toxicity? I'm going to go through these things fairly quickly because we don't have a lot of time. We have contaminated air. We have, our food and beverages are contaminated with bacteria, parasites, viruses, petrochemicals, heavy metals, heavy isotopes. When I was in Fairfield 2 years ago, all of the herbs coming in from India were laden with heavy metals. And people were getting sick. They were getting heavy metal toxicity from taking herbs they thought were going to help their body. And so I helped these people understand, China and India have not followed any environmental cleanliness laws, and their stuff is very, very toxic. And so you have to be careful and test everything you put into your body. And I teach people to test with kinesiology and have them use their bodies as a pendulum to see if something is good. I'll go stand in front of Harmon's, thinking, okay, is there anything in here I should buy? And sometimes I go back, which means I move my body forward for yes, it's good for me, or forward for yes, there's something in here that's good for you. And sometimes when I go back, it's like, boy, I'm surprised. And so I don't even go in the store because there's nothing in there that's good for me that day. And we all need to test everything that we take into our bodies. Okay, should I take this herb? Donna's so funny. Everything in this building because I blessed it. Donna goes forward with everything, and so it's kind of funny, she'll test something. She'll go, Scott, how come I'm testing good for everything? I'm like, because I blessed it all to be good for us, and so it's got the good intent in it. But we need to test everything, and even our water. It's fascinating because you can bless your water and it will become good for you. What's the guy that did the Ho'oponopono? Hugh Lynn. Hugh Lynn taught. He said we're all telling our water it's bad for us. We look at our water coming out of our tap and we go, oh, it's bad for me. And so we drink stuff out of plastic bottles. We buy these expensive filters, all kinds of stuff, because our belief is if we do these other things, the water will become good for us. And he said the poor water it's feeling like it's bad for you. It goes down the drain, goes out in our ocean, so it's polluting our ocean with all these bad thoughts. He says change your thought about the tap water. And when he did that, Dickie was doing some marathon running, and we would run, and about 4 miles down there was this fountain, and I used that thought, okay, I'm just going to bless this water. It's coming out of the system straight. I'm just going to bless it. And so I blessed it, and it actually tasted better. And I was like, boy, this is cool. I said, Vicki, come over and taste this water. She's like, yeah, it does taste better. And so we, through our thoughts, through our intent, can change our water. And we can drink our tap water, make it good, through blessing it and just through our thoughts. We can remove heavy isotopes. We can help our hormones through our thoughts. We can, all these chronic problems, diabetes, autism, hyperactivity, obesity, metabolic syndromes, poor cell signaling, all of these things can be changed through our thoughts. Now, Systemic Formulas has been focusing the last 3 years on cleaning up all of these things in our system, and they're making products that help do this. And so through our intent we can actually clean our bodies, but through good products that are being produced by people with a pure intent that want to help people clean up their bodies, and they came out with detoxes. This system up here, this detoxification program, came out 3 years ago, didn't it? Or was it only 2 years ago? 2 years ago.
3 years ago we didn't have it.
Yeah. And these products are amazing. They work. The first time I did a detox, I had a bunch of plastic come out of my system. And, getting that plastic out was a good thing, because it was in there plugging up my lymph ducts in my colon. And so instead of my lymph being able to clean out my system, it was all plugged up and it was just recirculating everything. So once I got those petrochemicals out of my system and the plastics, my lymph has been much better since then. But through doing this, it's quite interesting. Who is likely to get illness? All the people on the earth not detoxing, evolving, and cleansing. So all of us need to do this process. And if you have no money, do it with your thoughts, because thoughts don't cost anything. So proper organic nutrition is very important. Juicing. The gal I talked to yesterday, it's a recurrent breast cancer. She's undergone chemotherapy and radiation. Guess how far out she is? She made it past that 5-year mark. The 5-year survival. Well, they've designed it so you survive 5 years and then you get it back. And so now she has to do something different because it's recurred, and recurrent cancers don't respond to radiation and chemo because they're the cells that survived that crap in the first place. And so they're the ones that stay, and they come back in about 5 to 6 years. So, one of the things I told her she needed to do was the Gershon fast, the Gershon juicing, because that is very good for getting rid of cancers. And it breaks basically Gershon taught that you need the intracellular juices from the plants, which means you have to break down those cell walls. And he taught you have to use a press that's a 2,000-pound press or a ton press. And so Vicki and I bought this one from the Amish in Missouri that basically has a 2-ton jack in it and 2 surgical trays, and you pump it up and it smashes all this stuff. And the remaining stuff, all it is the cellulose, and you get all the good juices out of it using the Ninja and the Vitamix. Also breaks those cell walls down. You have to have very powerful, just normal mixers won't do it. You have to buy very powerful ones to get it. And you turn on and cleanse the organs of elimination. Now, when they made this process, what they did was they had a 60-day detox. They called it a 60-day detox, and they had 20 days each. So 3 processes that you went through. The first process, you'd clean up your liver, your the colon, the digestive system, get that functioning at a higher level so that when you release the toxins, you could actually release them from your body by helping the organs of elimination. Then the second process would get the extracellular matrix good, the lymph and all the fluids around our cells flowing even better, and then they work on the kidneys in that second process. And then the third process, they use these new formulations that actually use the 5 R's of detoxification. And we're going to go through those maybe if we have time. But these are the 5 R's. Boy, I didn't remember that was next, but I guess I was right on task. So number 1, you remove the source of toxins. So you don't bring any more toxins into your body. So you got to remove the source. A lot of people are living in toxic homes, and you actually need to detoxify your house and make it so it's not toxing you up, because there's a lot of chemicals and different things in our homes. Regenerate the cell membrane. Now this process where you're regenerating the cell membrane, that's actually the third portion in this detox, because it pulls the toxins off your cell membrane so they're clean, and when your cells divide, they're clean cells. And so the products that do that are like the Rocks, the Energy, and Epic do that. Restore the cellular energy. The one that does that really, really well is called Energy. It's the one put out by Systemics. And what's nice is they've got liquids that do this now, so you don't have to take pills even. Reduce the inflammation. The Rocks is an antioxidant. It's full of all the different types of herbs that help regenerate your cells and reduce the inflammation. And reestablish methylation with what the biggest product that helps that is the MORS, M-O-R-S. And so they've made products that actually help. This is scientifically proven. There's 5 things you need to do to clean up your system and your body. Okay, I'm not going to go through this because this is basically talking about how bad sugar is. Sugar is bad, okay? It's really bad for you. Excitotoxins, MSG, aspartame, all the stuff that the artificial sweeteners, they're excitotoxins. And they actually cause damage to your neurons, to your cells, and we've got a huge problem with Alzheimer's. They're saying that in the next 20 years, we're not going to have enough people taking care of all the Alzheimer's people because there will be so many of them, and they're tough. They're not easy. That's why a lot of them.
Something they program.
Well, it's
Get rid of them.
yeah, it's bad. So half the U.S. population. This is an older slide. This is one of my slides from 8 years ago. So half the population was having a problem. Now more than half. And so it's over 100 million now. So, 200 million was 60%. So how do we build the tissues? Enzymes have been found to be so important. Oh, it was just our angels wanted to tell us we need to take enzymes. Because enzymes help tissues. They help us absorb the good stuff, and they help reduce inflammation. So taking enzymes every day. They found that after age 40, we produced half the amount of enzymes we produced at age 20. And then by the age of 60, we only have about 10% of the enzymes. Enzymes are what help us
What are some of the products with enzymes?
digest, well, the plant enzymes. One of the reasons I love these plant enzymes, not only do they help chew up the parasites' dead bodies and break down the mucus and the membrane around parasites, but they help you digest your food, which is marvelous. You know, so I use a lot of plant enzymes. That also has lactase in it, which helps you digest milk products and different things. So supportive enzymes are very important. Most the African Americans have no way to break down milk products after about the age of 16. Just genetically, they don't have it anymore. The Caucasians, the people from European descent, actually, we can usually process milk products till we're about 40. But after that, we need, lactase, which helps break down milk products. Or we end up having fungus that breaks it down. Because fungus actually does do some stuff that's good for us. But they cause other problems. So, okay. Energetically, nutritionally, we need to normalize function at a cellular level. Now, if our cells are covered in these artificial hormones, artificial pesticides, herbicides, all this stuff, causes severe problems and inflammation. And so pulling those out of our body is very good for us. Now, the 5 Chinese element formulas balance the energetic, physical, emotional connections of the body and energetic flow, or qi. I use a lot of these. A lot of the people in Fairfield, Iowa have a big problem with their liver being able to process heat and toxins. So when I put them on herbs, I usually have to put them on energy sedate that helps clear the heat from their livers. And a lot of us are that way, especially spiritual thinking people.
What is it about them that causes that?
Well, they're meditating all the time. And they bring this energy through their system, this qi from their meditation. And it makes the liver so that on some level it isn't able to deal with the toxins and the heat when you cleanse the body. Because I found when we start cleansing, our livers just are having troubles. Everybody has it, but particularly people who are meditating, they don't have the energy to remove the heat from their livers. And so I give them this energy sedate, and it really helps them. So that's why you'll see on a lot of protocols, especially for people in Fairfield, I give them the energy sedate. Like yesterday on that lady, I put her on the energy sedate. Everything moves through a cycle. We go through spring, summer, harvest, fall, winter. Spring is actually the first part of the year. I was born on March 21st, so I always tell people that. Anyway, birth is spring, childhood is summer, adolescence is a harvest, adult is a fall, winter is when we become old. We cycle through our lives, and everything is a cycle and around. So it's important to clean our bodies, because believe it or not, in the fall is when we clean out our gardens. We get rid of the old plants as they're dying off. And if we don't get rid of the old stuff that's dying off in our bodies, we die. So, very important to clean out our bodies. The 5 R's, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more again. The first R is remove the source. So, eat only high-quality organic foods. Cleanse and bless the air you breathe. Cleanse and bless the water and fluids you drink. Cleanse and bless your home and your environment you live and work in. limit your exposure to environmental toxins, including EMFs. EMFs are electromagnetic frequencies. Our cell phones produce microwaves, and so it's important that you keep your cell phone away from your brain, because a lot of people are getting tumors, brain tumors, from their cell phones. They cause tissue damage, and bugs get in, and by bugs I mean parasites, fungus, and viruses that cause cancer. So limit your exposure to this. Second are regenerate the cell membrane, so you clean up and restore function to the organs of elimination, the liver, intestines, kidneys, and lungs. And this is the first part of the 60-day detox. Need protein and nutrients, raw foods, proper nutrition, supports the organs of digestion tract, helping to rebuild the organs of elimination. Put good bacteria in your system, amino acids, good amino acids, vitamins to build and support the tissues. Now, all of these are in the detox. The body is a macrocosm. Organs of elimination need to be functioning for the toxins to be removed from the body. So, helping our liver, our kidneys, our spleen, our digestive tract is very important. Blood needs to be providing oxygen and nutrients. The liver produces enzymes and proteins. See, people believe our liver just is a big organ that sits there and detoxes and produces bile. Well, the fact of the matter is the liver produces more blood after the age of 40 than the bones. And it can't do the things it needs to do if it's all full of toxins. So detoxing the liver is very important. Cell membrane is the barrier between the toxins in the body and the toxins entering the cells. So toxic cell membranes cannot function properly. Diabetes is toxic cell membranes. Insulin resistance is caused by toxic cell membranes. It sends the wrong signals, chemical sensitivity, allergic reactions. The United States, we're full of allergic reactions to different things. More and more people are becoming allergic to just the stupidest stuff, and it's because our cell membranes are all toxed up. And there's poor crossing of nutrients through that cell membrane into the cells, and oxygen sometimes can't even get into the cells very easy. And so we have fatigue on a cellular level. Right now we have, I think it was 80 billion people now with chronic fatigue. I mean, it's crazy. And it can be cleared up through cleaning up your cells. Vitamin A, vitamin C, zinc, and selenium, very good for you. Resveratrol, wine extract, acai, noni, green tea extract, turmeric, thyme, grapeseed extract, milk thistle, CoQ10, creatine, arginine, grapefruit, flavonoids, oregano oil, tyrosine, Arissa matis. It's an herb that's been found in the Amazon that helps repair the cell membrane. Rhizoma preparatum. Some of these are hard to say. Different things that help the cell membrane detox and improve. These are all in the ROX, the rocks from systemic formulas, every one of those. Restoring the cellular energy. The no is the EPIC, is this one. This one helps oxygenation, helps reduce blood pressure problems. There's an epidemic of blood pressure problems in the United States because all of the cells can't accept the oxygen, and this helps get the oxygen into the cells. Methyl donors, so the Moors has all the methyl donors and the trace elements. There's a lot of different functions that are restored through taking, these different products, and I've pushed them because I believe in them. These reduce inflammation, all of these products, and vitamin D3, K2 reduce inflammation. Vitamin A, B complex, vitamin C help reduce inflammation. So, we need to look at these things and reduce the inflammation.
Things reduce inflammation in the blood vessels. that guy that wrote that heart attacks weren't because of
Cholesterol.
cholesterol, that it was inflammation.
It's inflammation. Exactly. The inflammation is what causes heart attacks. It's
He's a
not
heart
cholesterol.
surgeon.
Cholesterol is a total myth.
Done thousands and thousands of surgeries, and he finds out it's inflammation.
Yeah, it's not cholesterol. You know, we've been lied to by the pharmaceutical industry so they can sell statins that actually have been shown to cause heart attacks because they cause problems with muscle. You know, they talk about how, you know, let your doctor know if you're experiencing weakness. Well, everybody taking statins experiences weakness, and guess what? That goes to your heart and makes your heart weak too. So reduce the inflammation. Chronic infections can cause inflammation. I believe viruses, fungus, parasites cause a big problem, but atypical bacteria have been proven to cause inflammation. And so getting rid of those things is really good. Viruses, you know, fungus, parasites, cleansing out all this stuff helps with inflammation. Reestablish methylation. So you cleanse out your liver, kidneys, colon, intestinal tract, lymphatics on a regular basis. I'm still doing a 90-day detox, and I've turned it into a 120-day detox because I just keep doing it because I'm constantly trying to keep my body cleaned up.
How do you know it has heavy metals in it? How can you keep it out if you don't know?
Every one of us who breathes, drinks, eats on the planet right now has heavy metal toxicity. Because we have spewed, you know, herbicides and pesticides, you know why they work? They use heavy metals in them. When you're spraying that crap, and, you know, we're crop dusting, you know, you name it, the heavy metals are a part of these chemicals. They're what makes them so toxic.
I've done that heavy metals things that you created. You used to have them over the other, you know, there was one you took in the morning, one you took at night.
Yes.
And I did that once, maybe twice.
Yes.
You have to keep up with it.
Yes, that's this product. This is very good for chelating out heavy metals and helping your heart, because the heart can't function with heavy metals. We have heart disease. It's the #1 cause of death. And it went up when we started using all these chemicals. Using lots and lots of B vitamins every day. You know, I tell people to use this stuff all the time because it's got the 3 types of vitamin B12, but it's also got all the other B vitamins, and it's very well absorbed into your system through your mouth. I use it because, see, we store a lot of our fats, our toxins in our fats. That's why everybody's overweight, is because we're storing toxins away from our vital organs in the fats. But when you lose weight, you release those toxins. You've got to get rid of them somehow, and the only way you can get rid of them is your organs of elimination. And they're all toxed, and so, you know, it's good to just clean out your system. Okay, this is my last slide, then I'll be done. But we have an amazing arsenal of good things that we can clean out our bodies with. And these companies that are on the edge, they're the ones who are developing a lot of these products. And I love these companies. And, you know, everybody who works here knows I love them because I use them because they test the best. And the individual herbs are fine for different things, but we're living in such a toxic environment. Even Mother Nature has given us this arsenal, but let's use our minds and our intent to clean ourselves out, because that's what's going to move us to the next level. As you remove this stuff from your body, actually your vibration goes up, your mind thinks clearer, everything makes more sense, because you pull yourself out of the matrix, literally. When I did the ayahuasca, I asked, what the heck is the matrix? And the matrix literally is an energy that is being created by all of us. And there are certain people in power who have overridden our thoughts through television, through radio, through music, and made us vibrate at a certain vibration that's not very high, so that we're more easily controlled. We are creative beings. We are the gods. I believe this. And as we remove these toxins, these chemicals, these vibrations from our body that are low vibrating, we bring our vibration up higher to where we actually should be vibrating. And then we can manifest things quickly because we are the gods. And so removing all this stuff from your body helps you be a manifester. It helps you be happier. It brings you more joy. You're vibrating up in unconditional love and compassion. And when we are vibrating lower, we don't have any of that. And that's why our population on the planet, there's so much fear and so much control. It's because there's certain powers that don't want us to become who we are. And that's a whole other lecture, though. So as you heal others, you heal yourself. And as we help ourselves vibrate higher, we actually help all of humanity. So forgiveness, love, kindness is very important. And thank you for coming and listening to me today. I know I went over and I'm sorry, but I love and honor each one of you. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for being here.
Does anybody have a question?
I have. What's that thing up on the top that you said had all the cleanses in it?
Oh, the detoxification program.